السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا زدنا علما. اللهم فقهنا في الدين. اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا آمين يا رب العالمين. So here we are with our session number 242 for Quranic Arabic grammar, in which we are learning Sarf and Nahw of Surah Al-Fath, and we have completed, Alhamdulillah, our verse number 12 in our last session, and today we are going to start with verse number 13. And I hope you're all ready with your ayah for today, Alhamdulillah. So we are starting with Wow, and before we say anything about Wow, I want you to look at this man. What are the three types of man we have covered so far in our course? If you can kindly type. What are the three types of man that are there? So there are three types of man that everyone must know by now. Man can be shartiya, man can be mausula, and man can be istifhamia, right? So when I asked you, if I asked you man istifhamia and man shartiya, based on location, based on location, which are the 2 months that you are expecting to see in the beginning of the ayah? The shartiya and the question man. If man is used to question something, or if man is used as a shart, you are going to be looking for that particular man in the beginning of the ayah. For example, in Surah An-Nisa, there was a verse beginning, in the part of the verse was beginning with man asdaqu minallahi haditha. So man asdaqu. Do you think we can consider that man as Mawsula? Yes, it is istifham. No. Why so? Because see, the Mawsula is a type of man that is going to connect what is before to what is after. When you have man, in between, you start to think about Mawsula. But if you are looking at man that is beginning the kalam, that is beginning a new sentence, what are the two types of man you are going to consider? You are going to think about man shartiya and man istifhamia, because both man shartiya and man istifhamia, when it comes to to the taqdeem wa ta'khir, you understand, you have learned that these are the isms for which there is sidara, right? They have to be at the beginning of the sentence. Do you all remember that information? And I have something from my slide on my slide as well, that there are certain words that you are going to see always in the beginning. Okay, for these words have sidara, right, in kalam. So in case of both jumla ismiya, or when you look at jumla failure, there will be certain words, right? There will be certain words. Look for 5 question words, al asmaul sidara, right? So in jumla ismiya, you are going to look for the same thing, as well as in the jumla failure. You will notice that this man shartiya or man istifamiya, both are going to be found in the beginning of the kalam. So here you cannot think about man mausula, right? Will you think about mausula here when man is in the beginning starting the sentence? No, 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 right? This man cannot be mausula, because what have we learned about man mausula? Man mausula is a word that connects what is before to whatever is after, right? But here, after wow, which is, it seems like wow istinafia, there is a beginning, right? There is a new beginning. And so at the beginning of the sentence, when I know there is a beginning, there is a new beginning, I'm going to think about shartiya, man shartiya, or istifhamia. However, here it seems to be setting a condition. Can you off? So it is here man going to be man shartiya, right? And when man is shartiya, you have learned how you can label it. Here, let's just, before we label man, let's dive into the words itself. Man, if I ask you what kind of a shart word is this? Anyone remembers? It is from adwatu shart jazima, adwatu shart jazima. When you have your adwatu shart jazima, you have learned that they can be ism and they can be harf. If now I ask you which category you are going to send your man shartiya to, is it from the harf category of words or is it from the ism category of words? It's going to be from the ism category of words, right? When I ask you, so in here, you notice this slide, you have been shown this slide 1,000 times before, I think. Now, literally 1,000 times. So in isma are your harf, rest are all your isms. Rest are all your isms, right? So man is from the category that is adwatu shart ismiya, right? So now when you look at this slide, I have, classified everything that, there will be ism, there will be adwatu shart, jazima that are going to be used for ghair akil, and then there are some for akil, some for a place, some for hal, some for time, some for both time and place. So here, if you look at this man, it is going to be setting a condition referring to akil. I hope whenever you see man, you think about a human being, jinn, or an angel. And in most instances in Quran, you are going to be seeing man referring to human beings, right? Because this book is a book in which is your mention. Fihi zikrukum. So human beings are the most talked about entity in Quran. If you pay attention to that, so you will notice that this man is going to be referring to you and me, right? So for akil, it is for man, which is ism shart jazim, jazim lil aqil, right? Lil intelligent, lil intelligent being, no, it is for intelligent being, okay? So now after man, you have lam, and when you have lam, if I ask you, is it a ism, fail, or harf, you are going to tell me that lam is your harf. And if I ask you the type of harf, it is nafyin wa jazbin wa qalbin, as you have been typing. So I expect to see it before mudare, and mudare is going to be majzoom bi lam. And can you all see that there is a sign of majzoom status of mudare here? Yes, and this mudare is majzoom bisakun, right? Everyone can see that this mudare is majzoom bisakun. If it was from af'alul khamsa, so what would be the sign of majzoom status in that case? Hasfun noon, very good job. And if it was mutallatul akhir, if the mudare was mutallatul akhir, which means the mudare with a weak letter as its, as its last letter. So it's going to be has harf illa, right? In that case, you will see dropping of your weak letter. Everyone, I hope, is clear so far, and everything is clear so far. So then when you see yu'min, you are noticing a jumla failure, and with every jumla failure, you look for fa'il and maf'ul bihi most importantly, right? So in this fail, yu'min, what do you think is a fa'il? Huwa, it is going to be huwa, damir mustatir. It's not going to be naib because remember, it is ui in your ui. So it's not majhul, this is mudare ma'loom. So it is going to have is damir as file, and the status of that damir mustatir huwa is going to be rough, because every doer is going to be rough in status, right? And since your hua is going back to man, you can call your man can be either mafulun bihi or can be mubtada. In this case, how will you label your man? Is it mafulun bihi or mubtada? It is going to be mubtada, and whatever is coming after man is going to be the khabru man. And what will be the status of khabar? What will be the status of khabar? Fi mahalli raf'in, because your khabar is a sentence, you are going to call it fi mahalli raf'in, to be very precise. When you look at billahi after yu'min, you are going to call it jar wal majroor, right? It's a fragment, jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil fail, And lafzul jalala is connected with rasul through an a fragment which is murakkab atf. And real quick, if I ask you what is making rasul take a kasra, what will be the answer? Because it is ma'tuf, that is the only reason Rasul is with kasra, right? Because of atf, Rasul is getting a kasra. Very well done, Afsha. Beautiful job. And now, if I ask you the status of he attached to Rasul, I hope you all remember that it is Jaran status because it is mudaf ilayhi through the words are connected through idafa. So he in the mir muttasil is fi mahalli jar, right? So in terms of flexibility, all your pronouns are going to be blank. All your pronouns in terms of flexibility are going to be blank. Are they going to be fully flexible, partly flexible, or non-flexible? They are going to be mabni, which means they're going to be non-flexible. Very well done. And this, he is taking a kasra because letter before it is having a kasra. If the letter before it had a dhamma or a fatha, or in that case, it would have taken a dhamma, right? So you all remember that. I'm glad to know that. So this one, so I'm in here. You're seeing the whole sentence, which is your jumla shartiya, and then comes your fa. And if you see a fa in your shart after your shart, you start to think about fa rabita. I hope you all are masters of fa rabita by now. Alhamdulillah. And you're seeing fa rabita followed by a sentence. And who can tell me the condition for fa'u rabita to be there? And Sister Faiza has already typed one of the condition for fa'u rabita among 7 to 8 others is if your jawabu shart is, if your jawab is going to be, if your jawab is going to be jumla ismiya, the very first one on this slide. If your jawab is jumla ismiya, you will find fa'u rabita. If your jawab is fe'lu talb, which can be amr wa nahi, you will find fa'u rabita. If you have your jawab beginning with qad, you should expect to see fa'u rabita. If you have ma nafiya, harf nasiba lan, or fail jamid like laysa, ni'ma, bi'sa, you expect to see fa'u rabita. If you have harf istiqbal, sin wa sofa, you should expect to see fa'u rabita. There is one more, I think one more that I have added to the list, and you have those in your slide somewhere. So it was innama, and keep that in mind. You may not see it in your grammar books, but with innama in Quran, when your jawab is beginning with innama adatul hasr, you will expect to see fa'u rabita there as well. Okay, I hope this was clear to each and every one of you. Here, inna, when you see inna, there are one words or two words. There is harf nasb and ismuha, and here the ism of inna is damir nahnu, and which the attached version is na, right? Na is the attached version, and after you have ismu inna, you look for what? You will look for khabru inna, and here khabru inna is going to be jumla failure. And when I have to ask you the status of the jumla failure now, what will be the answer? And this is very simple, easy stuff that we've been doing from the very beginning of the course. So this is fi mahalli raf'in. Since it's a sentence, it is fi mahalli raf'in, and atadna here is your fail. And fail, if I asked you, is it fail madin, mudare, or failul amr? It's going to be fail madin. And the doer with every fail, you have a file, and the doer in this case is naul fa'ilin, na al fa'ilin. And after that, you have lil kafirina, which is jar wal majroor, and that becomes your muta'alliq bil fail, and sa'ira is going to be here mafulun bihi. So if I ask you a quick question, what is the status of this jawab? It's going to be fi mahalli jasmin. Every time you see a jawab that has what are the condition? Let me ask you guys. If with every adawat shart jazima, you will get fi mahalli jasmin. You will label the status of your jawab as fi mahalli jasmin, or there are conditions that must be there to be followed before you do so. So because if it is adwatu shart ghair jazima, will you ever call your jawab fi mahalli jazmin? Never. Remember, this has been taught to you. I know it is sometimes very advanced for some of you. So, but still, I have to review because I have spent some time on that. If you're any time, if you have adwatu shart ghair jazima, no matter if they have fa attached, your jawab remains la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Is this clear? إذا حييتم بتحية فحيوا بأحسن منها. So here you do have after إذا شرطية ظرفية, you do have fa in جواب الشرط فحيوا. Will you say فعل الأمر في محل جواب الشرط في فعل الأمر جملة فعلية في محل جزم? Can you call في محل جزم? Will you call it fi mahalli jazmin? No, because your adatu shart cannot be these seven, or right? Because your adatu shart was not jazim, so your jawab cannot be labeled as fi mahalli jazmin. Now another case. If you have this situation, aina ma yuwajjihu, here your mudar is majzoom, right? Because of ainama, la ya'ti bi khair, will this jawab, or ainama takunu yudrikkumul maut, are these jawab going to be labeled as fi mahalli jazmin? What do you think, guys? There is no fa before. When there is no fa, there is no place for, there is no place for fi mahalli jazmin either. Fa fi mahalli jazmin, no. If there is no fa, there is no place for fi mahalli jazmin. These sentences are also going to be la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Though your mudare is majzoom, they are la mahalla laha min al-i'rab sentences. However, if you find idha fujaiya after your adatu shart jazima, in that case, again, your jawabu shart is going to be labeled as fi mahalli jazmin, right? So I hope everyone understood it. And if you have not understood it, I will recommend that you go back to the previous sessions and try to take some notes. And I hope you will find them a little bit beneficial. I hope, yeah. So now let's see the next ayah. I hope this ayah was clear to all of you. And if I asked you the status of the whole jumla shartiya wa jawab, the whole chunk after man, which is mubtada, you are going to call, you can label both the sentences together in one bucket. When you put them together in one bucket, you can call them fi mahalli rafin khabar, fi mahalli rafin khabar. Okay, now I'm doing one more thing. I'm going to ask you what will be the status of the whole chunk starting with man, which comes after waw istinaf. It is going to be after waw istinafiya, your sentence is going to be jumla to istinafiya la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. It has no i'rab in that case. So this is all that verse 13 is teaching us. And I think there are a lot many more gems, but I think for our course that is enough for now. And now we are going to go on to verse number 14, which begins with walillahi mulku samawati wal ard. So what do you think here? If I asked you, if forgetting about wow, if I asked you in this question, lillahi mulku samawati wal ardi, what kind of a sentence are you seeing here? You're seeing here a jumla which is jumla ismiya, and this jumla ismiya is beginning with lillahi, and lillahi is, there is taqdeem wa ta'khir here, right? Taqdeem wa ta'khir here. And was there any taqdeem wa ta'khir in the previous ayah? Did you see anything like that? No? Yeah, right? There was, everything was, we would say, in the right place, right? Here you have jumla ismiya, and lillahi is jar wal majroor, and mulk is your mubtada muakhar. Mulk is your mubtada muakhar. When your mubtada, is this a common mubtada? Is this a common mubtada or a proper mubtada? It is a proper mubtada. What made it proper? Is it mu'arraf bil lam? Is it mu'arraf bil idafa? Is it ism alam? Is it ism ishara? Is it ism mawsul? Is it ism damir? What is making it proper? So it is mu'arraf bil idafa. When your mudaf is made proper by its mudaf ilayhi, the term used for it is mu'arraf bil idafa. Okay, so this mubtada is mu'arraf bil idafa, and when I was teaching you the hukum of taqdeem wa ta'khir, and you have already typed here that if your mubtada is proper, and if even if your mubtada is common but it is mawsoof or mudaf, in that case you follow this hukum, right? The hukum of taqdeem wa ta'khir is jaiz. Very well done, right? Everyone got it, that it is jaiz for, you're just going to say that it is jaiz for mubtada to be delayed. But if it was a pure common mubtada, if it was pure common mubtada, you now you think about it. If I say that there was no as-samawati wal ard, then what will be the hukum of taqdeem wa ta'khir? In that case, walillahi mulk. If it was just walillahi mulkun, in that case it's going to be wajib. It's going to be wajib, right? Because I'm saying that it is not even mudaf and not mausuf. It is just a common mubtada. When mubtada is pure common, you have to look at your first column, right? You have to look at your first column, and this column, please, if you have forgotten about it, always you always have your slides to go back to, alhamdulillah. So let's just come back, and here we have discovered that why our mubtada is delayed. The hukum of taqdeem here is jaiz. It is permissible. It is permissible in this case here to for mubtada to be delayed, and as-samawat is a majroor, and because it is mudaf ilayhi, and wal ard is connected to as-samawat through atf, right? Through atf, everything is connected. You can consider it a new sentence, right? Are you all wanting to call this waw istinaf? Okay. And what about atf? Nobody wants to call it atf? If you call it at, it's going to be, just connected to whatever has been mentioned before and will follow what has been mentioned before in status. But if you call it istinaf, then jumla istinafiya becomes la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Now comes your next sentence, which is yakfiru liman yasha'u wa yu'adhibu man yasha'. So now, what are we seeing? We are noticing there is a jumla failure, and this jumla failure is beginning with what type of fail? Among the three types of fail that you have covered, fail mudare, madin, amr, this is mudare. Do you see any sign of mudare in this word? Yes. Yeah, the ya is the sign of mudare, and the name for this particular ya is going to be yaul mudariya, right? If you have covered, here it is, I think, yaul mudare, right? The ya that is a sign of mudare has been, classified as yaul mudare. Very simple, easy information. And mudare, if I ask you the status, is going to be rafa nasab or jar. It is marfu bidammatu zahira. It's simple, easy. And then liman. Liman is going to be jar wal majroor. Jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil fail yakfiru. Everyone agrees? Now if I asked you, can this man be istifhamia, which is stuck in between a sentence, or can it be shartiya? Because man istifhamia and man shartiya have sadara. They have sadara. They have to be in the beginning of the kalam. So this one, now if I ask you, is it not making things easy for you to label it now? That, if you have to pick one from these three, when you find man in between a sentence, connecting what is before to what is after, you should be able to easily pick option one, right? As Sister Faiza is saying that this is man mawsula. Is this clear to all of you now? Are things getting more clearer now that, for some months, there is always sidara? So if you find man in the beginning, you have to start to think about shartiya and istifhamia. If you find man stuck in between your ayah, just like this one, right? Is it not connecting what is after it to whatever is before it, right? This man is doing the job of connection. So this man is going to be man Mosula, right? As the name indicate, the connecting ism, right? Man is a Mosul or Mosula, and this man is going to be jar in status because of li. The status is jar, and when it comes to the sentence following it, it is going to be labeled as its sila because every Mosul will have its sila, and even if your harf is going to be your going to be Mosula, it also will have its sila. Do you remember doing some haruf and following the sila after them, right? With an, with ma masdariya, right? So same is going to be the case with this silatul Mosul. And if I ask you what type of sila you have three types of sila: jumla ismiya, jumla feiliya, and shubu jumla. Here you are finding jumla feiliya, and the status of this jumla feiliya is going to be La mahalla laha min al-i'rab, as Sister Salma has typed. And if I ask you the status of my fail mudare, here is going to be marfu bid dammatu zahira, right? Easy. And every fail has a file, or when it is ma'loom. And if I asked you what is the file for fail yasha'u, it's going to be damir mustatir huwa, right? And then waw is going to be waw at, and yu'azzibu is going to be my matuf sentence, and mudare is going to be here marfu with the matu zahira, and again it is followed by man. It is followed by man, and it's again, is this man also stuck in between? What do you think? Is it stuck in between everyone? At least type yes or y or one or something, right? So it is stuck in between. So again, will you think about Mosula, Shartiya, or Istifhamia? One, two, or three. You are going to think about Mosula, right? Because it is connecting what is before to what is after. So here again, it is going to be Man Mosula, and this is a Mosul is going to be labeled as yu'azzibu. Huwa yu'azzibu man yasha'u. He punishes whom he wills. So he punishes whom he wills. So man is going to be the object, mafulun bihi, and the status of your object or maful bihi is always nasb, right? And yasha'u is going to be the silatul mawsul, same way like the previous yasha'u, and it's going to be la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Is there any other sentence in this part that is going to be la mahalla laha? Yes. So which is the sentence that is also? So the first yashau, la mahalla laha. The second yashau, you told me la mahalla laha. What about this yu'azibu? What about this yu'azibu? This is going to be also, is it going to be la mahalla? Or you can you can put it on top of yakfiru. You can put it on top of yakfiru, right? It can be connected to yakfiru. So if now I'm going to tell you something, and Sister Diva wants to label this sentence yakfiru liman yasha'u wa yu'azzibu man yasha'. She wants to label yakfiru as hal of lafzul jalala. Do you all agree? Can it be the hal? Like while he owns the kingdom of the skies and the earth, while doing so, he forgives whom he wills and he punishes whom he wills, right? So this is telling you that the state of Allah while ruling his kingdom is that he forgives whomever he wills and he punishes whomever he wills, right? So if this is nasbin status, if yakfiru is going to be nasbin status, what will be the status of yu'azibu, which is matuf? It's also going to be nasbin status, the same status. Remember that whatever is going to be connected through atf whatever is going to be connected through atf is going to be of the same status. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. And this vow, if you want to call it atf, call it so. And Kana Allahu, what kind of a sentence are we seeing here? Okay, so it's Jumla Ismiya. And when you look at Kana, Kana is going to be your Madin, Naqis, Nasikh, right? And Lafzul Jalala is going to be Ismu Kana. Because why so? Because there is no action here. Allah is ever. Does it convey a complete thought? It does not convey a complete thought. So your Ismu Kana is going to be Lafzul Jalala and Ghafuran Khabru Kana Awwal, Rahiman Khabru Kana Sanin. Everyone with me so far? Now I am calling this Kana not only Naqis, but I also called it Nasikh. Nasikh. Why did I call it Nasikh? Because the khabar is made nasb in status. Alhamdulillah, that is very well done. So if I just call it baw'at, and I'm connecting it to yakfir, so what will be the status of this sentence? That Allah is also in a state where He forgives whomever He wills and He punishes whomever He wills, while He is forever. He has always been extremely, exceedingly forgiving, ever merciful, right? Barakallahu feek. Very well done. So it's going to be also this Jumla Ismiya also will become Nasb in status, right? So now comes your verse number 15. Alhamdulillah. So here you have seen. So focus on seen, and there is Jumla Fedia as Sister Zina has typed. And seen, if I ask you the three categories, Ism, Fail, Harf, it just belongs to Harf category, and Harf is not going to have any i'rab. When I say this word is not going to have any i'rab, or something is la mahalla laha min al-i'rab, what does it mean? What does la mahalla means? No rafa, no nasb, no jar. And there is also one more status that you're missing. There is one more status that we just gave to this ayah following faw rabita. Whenever something is la mahalla laha min al-i'rab, it cannot be raf in status, it cannot be nasb in status, it cannot be jar in status, and it cannot be jazm in status. Is this clear to all of you? Yes, with harf we don't consider that, but remember that. Keep that in mind. When you think about la mahalla laha min al-i'rab in your notes, this piece of information must be there. When something is la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab, generally when I hear this term la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab or la mahalla laha min al-i'rab, that particular word cannot be rafa, nasb, jar, or jazm. Okay, so this one is again harf. So la mahalla laha min al-i'rab, because it is a harf and it is mabni al-fatha. And yakulu, when you look at yakulu, what comes to your mind? Is it an ism, fail, or harf? It is mudare marfu bidammatu zahira, bidammatu zahira. And here, after you see mudare marfu bidammatu zahira, lamatul mudare is going to be yaul mudare again. It gives you an opportunity to go back and look at the different types of ya. This fail mudare with damir mustatir hua has an outside doer which cancel the damir mustatir hua. So now your doer is going to be al-mukhallafuna. Al-mukhallafuna. What is the sign of rough status of al-mukhallafuna? When I write it, fa'il marfu bil waw, right? Bil waw, right? Waw jama. Very good job. So everyone, if this was a singularism, if it was mukhallaf, what will be the sign of rough status in word al-mukhallaf? It's going to be dhamma. If it is a dual, what will be the sign of rough status in that case? It is going to be alif. It's going to be alif. It's going to be marfu bil alif, right? Bil alif al musanna. Remember, once upon a time we did it, and Sister Faiza has typed alif al musanna. Very well done. And if I asked you this noon, have you ever covered or learned anything about this noon? Is this nunul Arab? Do you find nunul Arab in your isms? No, you don't find Nunul Arab in your isms. This is Awid and Tanween, as Dilruba is saying. So Dilruba is absolutely right that this is Awid and Tanween, and its name is Nunul Muqabala. Very well done. Very well done, Faisa. So now you gave the right name, that this noon is called Nunul Muqabala, right? So Nunul Muqabala, very important noon that comes from the Tanween, Alhamdulillah. And now comes your Iza. You are noticing here سيقول المخلفون إذا انطلقتم. So here إذا, is it an ism, is it a harf, or is it a fail? It is an ism, and every ism is going to be so sister, we can call it if you call it 1 second, I'm going to come back to your question, Shimeen. Okay, I will come back to your question. Okay, how about that? So iza is your ism, iza is your zarf, right? Right? So usually when you see iza followed by fail madin, what I have told you, what I have taught you so far, that if you have iza is always going to be probably followed by some kind of a sentence like that. So in jumla failure, if it is jumla failure, it's going to be ismiya shartiya zarfiya. But if I take you so let's see here this one. So iza is ism, iza is your zarf. After your zarf iza, what do you look for? Dilruba has already typed. You have to look for its mudaf ilayhi. What is the status of mudaf ilayhi here? Fi mahalli jar, right? It is going to be fi mahalli jar, right? Mudaf ilayhi is always jar, and when it is a sentence, you label it as fi mahalli jar, right? So here, in talaqtum ila maghanim, right? In talaqtum fail. What type of a fail you are seeing here? It is fail madin, wal fa'il, ta'u fa'ili, right? Or and meme is for jamai zukur. It is denoting your masculine plural. Ila maghanim, jar wal majroor, right? After ida, can you ever see a mufrad ism as your mudaf ilayhi, my dear sisters? Can its mudaf ilayhi, can its mudaf ilayhi ever be a mufrad ism? What have we learned? We have learned when my zarf, when my zarf when my zarf is a mudaf, which is mabni, it is never ever going to take a mufrad ism as its mudaf ilayhi. I'm just looking if I have that slide that I have been sharing for a long time. So keep that in mind, because it is because this one is mabni. Your mudaf is mabni, so you only can have jumla as its mudaf ilayhi, which in this case is this jumla failure fail madi. Everyone got it? And you will I will add the slide for in your notes, inshallah. Okay, so ila maghanim, what is problem with maghanim? Before I take you back to Iza, maghanim is not taking a tanween. Maghanim is not taking a kasra. What kind of a problem is with this maghanim? It is a word which is mamnu min as-sarf, right? It is mamnu min as-sarf. And what is the reason for this word to be mamnu min as-sarf? What made it partly flexible? Why is this word going to be put under the category of partly flexible? Is it a name? Is it a name? Is it does it have alif noon and it is a sifa? Or what is the problem here? So here, there are certain words that will have only one reason to be partly flexible, and under that category, as Sister Faiza said, that and you all are typing as well, that the pattern, there is a pattern here, Shamim is saying that it is a broken plural pattern that is always going to be mamnu min as-sarf, right? The broken plural, the answer is the broken plural that is on a pattern of mafa'ilu. Mafa'ilu is going to be partly flexible. Is this clear to each and every one of you? The broken plural pattern, which is ultimate plural or a super plural that spells like mafa'ilu or mafa'ilu, like masabiha in Quran, and otherwise mafa'ilu are going to be partly flexible. Everyone with me? Is this the only broken plural pattern that's going to be partly flexible? Because look at my slide very carefully today. I have added something on this slide. I have added something on this slide. Another one, which other pattern? And I'm just, this is not going to be put under this slide. Okay, this is never going to be put under this slide. But remember one thing, on this slide you do have, but that is not the reason for yeah. So if your word, Shamim and Faiza are saying that there is another one, so the words that have alif hamza, alif tanisul mamduda, the plurals that are ending with alif tanisul mamduda, which is alif and hamza in words like shuhada'u, ulama'u, fuqara'u, all these words, can they take tanween? No. These plural patterns, the same, it's one plural pattern, fu'ala'u or af'ala'u, they're also going to be they're also going to be partly flexible. And what will be the reason then, Faiza and Shamim? What is making them partly flexible? Is it the plural pattern, or there is some other reason for them to be partly flexible? You are going to say these are partly flexible because of alif utanis al mamduda, right? This alif, this extra alif utanis, alif hamza, which comes after third root letter. Alif utanis al mamduda is an alif hamza that comes after the last root letter. Sufara'u, these words, ulama'u, but sufara'u is a singular word, right? You have to focus on ulama'u, shuhada'u. And why are these two patterns partly flexible? Because these plural patterns have alifutanisul mamduda. How many of you have understood this? If a plural pattern has this alifutanis al mamduda, that plural pattern is going to be also partly flexible. But the reason of that plural pattern to be partly flexible will be alifutanis al mamduda, not plural pattern itself. When I show you that mafa'ilu or mafa'ilu is partly flexible, what is the answer for that? It is that what made them partly flexible is that special plural pattern. But in the second category, ulama'u and shuhada'u category or fuqara'u category, the word has been made partly flexible because of alifut ta'nis. Okay, and there are other examples as well of that, right? And you will see them very many times in Quran. Okay, inshallah. So this is a little bit about your partly flexible ism. And now when I take you back to this iza, when I take you back to this iza, do you think it is setting literally a shart? Is it setting a condition? Is it literally setting a condition? Or sometimes your iza can be zarfiya, ismiya, ghair shartiya. It can iza ever be ghair shartiya? Have you ever covered that in different types of iza? This slide rings a bell, right? We have learned that sometimes iza can be there, but it is not setting a shart, right? وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى. Is it غير shart? Is setting a shart? No, it's just telling you when it covers, when it becomes very, very dark, and the star when it falls, right? It's simply telling you when it falls. It's not setting a shart here, right? So it's just متعلق بالليل. إذا is متعلق بالليل. إذا is متعلق بالنجم, right? Without setting a shart. It can be غير شرطية as well. And I will consider this one as a time when مخلفون will say whatever they say. Okay? So this can be إذا ظرفية اسمية غير شرطية. right? You can consider it gair shartiya as, right? So, and now when you have all that labeling for this iza, how will you connect iza to whatever has been mentioned before? It's going to be your maf'ul fihi, or it can be muta'alliq bil fail yakulu. Muta'alliq bil fail yakulu. So yakulu, it is going to be when will they say? When you will march out towards the maghanim. When you will go out towards the maghanim, mukhallafun will say. Okay? Litahkhuzuha. Litahkhuzuha. So what are we seeing here? Li, following it is a mudare. So this li, after which there is a mudare, after which there is a mudare, particularly that is mansoob. What kind of lam is that lam? With a kasra, followed by mudare mansoob. Can be lamul ta'lil, can be lamul jahud, and can be lamul aqiba. But here, is it ta'lil or aqiba or jahud? For jahud, you have to have makana lam yakun. There is no makana lam yakun, so it is out of question. It cannot be lamul jahud, right? It is exactly describing the intention of the doers here of this fail yakulu al mukallafuna, so that they take it, so that they grab it, right? Isn't it? So if after lam the action which comes is the intent of the doer, is the exact intent of the doer, that lam is called ta'leel, right? That lam is going to be lamu ta'leel, right? If it was not the intent of mukhallafun, then it is going to be aqiba. But here, so that they take it, they want to grab the maghanim, isn't it? Mukhallafun wants to take the maghanim, so this is going to be lamu ta'leel. And here you see a mudare mansoob. And what made mudare mansoob? Is it the lam itself, or it is unmudmira after unmudmira, right? Unmudmira following lamu ta'leel is making the fail mansoob, and the sign of nasb status in this case is going to be hasfin noon, because this word is from af'alul khamsa. What are the three pronouns that af'alul khamsa have? What are the three pronouns af'alul khamsa have? Alif, aliful isnain, wawil jama'a, yaul mukhataba. Everyone remembers that? Al-falul khamsa are those fail mudare that have aliful isnain, wawil jama'a, yaul mukhataba. Af'alul khamsa are those afal that show their rough status by the presence of noon, right? They show their rough status by the presence of noon, and their nasb or jazm status is denoted by omission of noon or hasfin noon. Ha is going to be here maf'ul bihi, right? It is going to be the maf'ulun bihi for ta'khudhu, and then comes your zaruna, and zaruna is going to be, what is it, one word or there are two words? There are two words, and the first one is zaru, and it is going to be your fail amr. You're going to call it your fail amr, and it is going to be what is missing in this fail amr? How is this fail amr made? Has it been made by putting a sukoon on the last letter, by dropping the weak letter, or by hasfun noon? Very good job. This has been made this has been made the way it is by the dropping of the noon, and it is mabni, right? It is mabni, always going to be. Your fail amr is mu'arrab or mabni? It is mabni. It's always going to be mabni. And the doer in this fail amr is, what is the doer? Wawil jama'a, and this waw is damir baris, because you can see this damir, and na is going to be your mafulun bihi. So in fail mudare, in failul amr, you have your file, right? In failul amr, every fi'l amr will have a file, right? It can be bariz or mustatir, and you have covered in the last session that the only siga of fi'l amr in which the pronoun is mustatir is anta, right? Only in anta the mir is anta is mustatir, rest everything you can see, right? So now you have nattabikum, nattabikum. So what is happening here? It is some will call it jawabul amr, and some will say that this is a jawab of jumla shartiya that has been omitted, right? Right? Some will call it jawabul amr, and some may label it as jawabu shart li shart mahzuf, that there was a jumla before this that has been omitted from here. Okay, everyone with me so far? Okay, so in this case, you have your mudare madzum bis sakoon, and here when I asked you about this one, what is the name for this noon in the beginning? How will you name it? Have you ever covered this noon? Nunul mudare, very good job. This is your sign of mudare. You just call it nunul mudare, right? Easy. And then when you have your which is your alamatul mudare, very good job. And then the damir in this case, what do you think? Is the damir in nattabi baris, or is it mustatir? It's going to be mustatir, right? The mir in fi'l mudare nahnu is always, it is wajib for it to be mustatir. It's always, hidden. Always it is the mir mustatir wujuban. Takdiruhu nahnu, right? And kaf is going to be your attached pronoun. Kaf is attached pronoun and is maful bihi, and meme is your har li jamai zukur, right? It is for meme for masculine plural, right? Where where do you find this meme? No, we here no, that doesn't make sense. So, Diba, it does not make sense to make it um um you know this is just like, it seems like, this is your maqulul qawl for yakulu. The zaruna nattabi'ukum, right? This seems to be your maqulul qawl for fail yakulu. So the muqallafun will say, when you will all go out to your maghanim so that they take it, you leave us, we will follow you all. You leave us here, we'll come follow you. If you will leave us, we will follow you on. Does it make sense? This is what they are saying, right? This is going to be your inverted comma, basically. Okay. So I was just asking you this meme. What do you think? Do you find this meme in? So this is present meme di jamai zukur after haul ghaib. Very good job. After taul file, after kaful qida. Very good job. So it is found in kum. It is found in talaqtum, and then you are also you also see it in in word, in these three words. Very good job. Yeah, very good job. So haul ghaib has it. And then taul file, it follows taul file as in fail in talaqtum, and then you are seeing it after a kaful khitab as well. Very good job, very well done. And then comes your next part, yuriduna. Okay, so now can this be zaruna? You go out towards a maghan. You go out when you leave towards your maghanim so that you take it. Um, can this be connected to something which has been mentioned before? One is, we just, we can consider it, this is what they have said. They are saying, they can just be, this can be considered as what they have been saying. Let's just, let's come back to it. Before we come back to it, let's just do this one first. Yuriduna. What are they? This is Jumla Failia with fail mudare, marfu bi subuti noon, and waw is the doer. You have a fail, you have a file, you know the status of your fail now. that the status is marfu bi thubutin noon because this is from afalul khamsa, because the pronoun is wawil jama'a. After that, you have an. Among the four types of an, which is this an? An masdariya. Sister Faiza is coming up with an masdariya, and Shamim agrees with her. Can it by any chance, Dilruba, Faiza, Shamim, can it ever be tafsiriya? Can it ever be labeled tafsiriya? If even you are sleeping and somebody asked you, you just woke up and somebody asked you, my dear sister, what is the type of an here in this part of Quran? It can never ever be. Why so? Why so? You're all right, Diba, Zarina. Your answers are all right. Because antafsiriya will never cause a change in the i'rab of what follows it. It will never be affected by what is before it. This did it change the i'rab of yubadilu? Did it change the i'rab of yubadilu? Did it make mudare mansoob? It did. It made mudare lose its noon. So this is going to be nasiba masdariya. Is it being affected by yuriduna? How are you connecting it to yuriduna? You are making it mafulun bihi for yuriduna. Antafsiriya cannot be connected like that to whatever has been, cannot be grammatically connected to whatever is before it. And nor does it have any grammatical effect on what follows it. Is this clear? ना तो किसी चीज का असर लेता है जो अपने से पहले होता है, ना ये अपने से बाद आने वाले इसम के ऊपर या हर्फ के ऊपर या फेल के ऊपर कोई असर करेगा. ठीक है, इस अन तफसीरिया किसी भी हर्फ से अफेक्ट नहीं हो सकता, याद रखिएगा ये बात. ठीक है, सो ये कभी भी ये अन जो है मसदरिया नासिबा कहलाएगा लिल इस्तिकबाल. इसमें हमेशा future, it will always have connotation of future. Keep that in mind as well. Okay, yubadilu has a file which is wawil jama'a, and kalam Allahi is going to be mafulun bihi. So now I'm going to come back to this. We have to stop here, and inshallah we'll continue with this surah and on Saturday. Shamim was asking that can she connect this wakan Allahu ghafura rahima? So can this be connected to walillahi mulku samawati? Was that you were asking, Shamim? You want to connect it to do you want it matuf ala walillahi mulku samawati wal ardi? Yes, Shamim, you know you are pro. You know that different people will have different thoughts. It's just in one day you may want to make it fi mahalli nasbin hal, and the next day you may want to teach your students differently, right? You may, and if that makes total grammatical sense, you can do it like that. Absolutely, you can do it like that, right? So yeah, it can be. Amin Vayaki. So I hope you all have benefited some from this session. I have a test and for on that I'm giving to basic grammar students. So I will strongly encourage you all to attempt that test as well. This is going to be a good practice of what you have covered, and there may be some things that you may learn from that test as well that we may have not gone over with that much depth. So I think everyone will benefit. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك wa natubu ilayka. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear students.